Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Virginia Milner with the DeKalb Library System doing another kids version of Jewelry with Jen. And today we're going to be making a nice little dangle necklace that has a little pattern on it. So we're going to be doing a little patterning today. So got to take these off. Anyway, so we're going to be doing a little bit of patterning today, just for something a little bit different. I don't think we've done that before in these sessions. So this should be a lot of fun. So we're going to be using seed beads. We'll be using 4 different colors. And the other things that you're going to need are 20 gauge wire. You're going to have your cutters, your square nose pliers, and your round nose pliers, and a ruler. You'll also, in addition to the seed beads and the wire, be using head pins. And for our fastening, we're going to use jump rings and a lobster clasp. That's it for today. So let's go down to the other camera and let's get started. So I wanted to give you a little visual of the pattern that we'll be making today. It's going to be this. It has several diamond shapes in it. Get some of the glare out of this. Let's see if I can turn this down a little bit, so it's not quite so glary. That's better. So this is going to be the pattern that we're making today. That's what our dangle is going to look like on our necklace. So the first thing that we need to do is we're going to be using head pins. That's these little things with the little flat head on them. And I wanted you to know, those of you who get the kits, the head pins are very long and very bendable. So some of them may come like this. They might look kind of bent up, and all you have to do is straighten them out with your fingers. Moving the light out of the way so it's not quite so glary. Okay, so just straighten them out with your fingers so that you can use them. So we're going to be using 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, we need 7 of them. Let me go get one more and I'll be right back. I've got 6 here. We need 7. This is the one that I just got and it's bent. This is the way they come. They come in the packages like this, unfortunately. But all you have to do is straighten them out with your fingers, and you can take your pliers if you need to and kind of straighten them out that way too. Beads will be over them, so they won't be visibly bent. You won't be able to see that, but you don't want them to be too bent. So there we go. So the first thing we want to do is map out our pattern. And the way I did this was I started with trying to cover up some of that light so that it doesn't make it so bright. So I start on the outside, and I have what I call frame beads, and those are the ones that go all the way around. And for this one, I'm using the white beads as my frame. But for the one I'm going to make today, I'm going to use the red beads as the frame. And I'm doing that because I'm doing a sunrise type sunset. This one's going to be sunrise because it ends up in the center being nice and light, and this one's going to end up in the center being a little dark. So my frame beads on this one are the white beads. They are all the way around the outside, and also they're the bead in the center. So my frame beads on this one that I'm making are going to be this dark brick red. So the first thing I'm going to do is give myself 3 beads, 3 of my frame beads on the bottom of my pin, just feed them on my pin like this. And then on the other one as well, because there's going to be one on each side. Of my pattern. So one on each side. So I've got 3 and 3. And then the next one, I'm going to pick another bead, another color. I'm going to go with turquoise. And then I'm going to go with 3 more of my frame beads. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Turquoise and 3 of my red ones. 1, 2, 3. Now, one thing about seed beads is they don't all come the same size. See, notice how different the sizes are on this? So I like to put them together, put my little pins together, and get it as close to the same length of beads as I can. Now I can see that this one's a little bit shorter than that one. So I can either take the longer one off of this one or put a longer one on the other one so that they match up better. So I'm going to find a longer one. And I'm going to take this shorter one off. See how much shorter this is than this one? And I'm going to put this longer one on. And then I'm going to check and see what those look like together. Ah, perfect. So those are going to be my sides. The next one I'm going to do is going to have 2 of my frame beads. So that's 1. Oh, that's a really long one. I think I'll save that for the center. So 1, 2, and then 1 and 2. And then I need 2 colors because I'm going 3 and then 1 color and then 3. And here I'm going to do 2 and then I'm going to do 1 of my blue ones that I'm using, 1 of my turquoise and another color and another turquoise. So I'm going to go with turquoise and coral and turquoise. Just like that. And then I'm going to put 2 more of my frame beads on, just like on the bottom. Let's get a bigger one. And do the same thing here. Turquoise, coral, turquoise. Oops, dropped it. And 2 of my red beads. I like these red beads. They're kind of a brick colored red. They're not bright red. There's my second set. Now my third ones that are going to go here and here are going to have 1 of my frame beads. So notice my pattern, 3, 2, and now I'm going for 1. 1. And I'm going to do a turquoise and a coral. And now I'm going to introduce my 4th bead. My 4th bead for this one is yellow. So I have 1 of my frame beads, 1 turquoise, 1 coral. Oops. That's right. 1 turquoise, 1 coral, 1 yellow, another turquoise, or another coral, and another turquoise. So turquoise, coral, yellow, coral, turquoise. You can start to see the pattern already. See how that's going like that? Got your little diamond shape going here. Boom, boom. And let's do the same thing on this one. Oops. My brick red, turquoise, coral, a little bit smaller. Yellow, coral, and turquoise. Let's see, they match up pretty good. Yes, they do. That goes on this side. And last but not least is my center. And for the center one, I notice I went 3, 2, and 1 on the red. So here we won't have a red one because the red's going to go in the center. We move it up to the next color, which is the turquoise. And go to the coral, the yellow, and then my red one. Instead of on the bottom, it goes in the center. And the yellow, coral, and turquoise. Let's, oops, get back on there. Let's see what we have now. My pattern is complete. See that? We have a little yellow diamond, a coral colored diamond, and a turquoise diamond. Neat, huh? So easy to do. So now what we need to do is cut off this excess. We don't need all of this, all of these ends on our pins. So we want to cut them off and make a loop. So what I need to do, I need about 1/2 inch to make my loop on the end. So I need to measure 1/2 inch from the bead. Just put my finger there. Then I'm going to take my cutters and I'm going to cut that off at that 1/2 inch mark. Now I like to hold on to the tip of my wire so that this won't go flying across the room when I cut it. So I'm going to hold my beads with my thumb and I'm going to put my wire in between my forefinger and my ring, my 3rd finger, and cut. Now make sure that your fingers aren't anywhere near your blade because you don't want to cut yourself. Snip that up. Everything is in place. And now I want to make a loop. So I'm going to take my wire. I'm going to slide it down about 1/3 of the way down my pliers. I want to make sure that none of this wire is sticking out on this side. And then I'm going to turn my pliers to make a loop. So I'm going to go about 1/3 of the way. And then I'm going to open my pliers, keep the wire in there, rotate my pliers back, clamp down, turn a little more, open, clamp down, and turn until I have a complete circle. And because I don't want this leaning over on the side the way it is, I'm going to go back in with my pliers just on the tip, and I'm going to bend it back until my loop is resting right on top of my beads, like so. Then I'm going to go on and I'm going to do that for the next one and all of the others. Oh, I just knocked off my beads. Ah, get back on there. Okay, again, you can measure it or you can use your eyes and see if you can just eyeball it. But until you get used to doing it, I would go ahead and measure just so you don't make any mistakes in regard to how much you need. Now, here's another way that you can cut this if you think it'll be easier. You can take a little something like this, a little container, and instead of holding everything like this, because that might be a little awkward, find the place that you want to cut. Turn your wire down into a little container, hold on to your beads, and cut that off. Oops, it should go in the container, but see how that popped out? That gives you an idea of what will happen if you don't have any control over it. It'll go flying across the room, and if there's anybody on the other side of the room, you could hit them with that, and it's like a flying needle, and that's very dangerous. Or it could end up on the floor, and if you're walking around barefoot, you could step on it. And again, it's like a needle that you would step, or a pin that you could step on with your bare feet. So you don't want to do that. So again, I've got my wire about a third of the way down my pliers. None of it is sticking out the top here. I'm going to rotate my pliers until I have part of my loop. Then I'm going to open, rotate back, clamp down, and I'm going to keep doing that until I have a complete circle. Once I've done that, go in with the tip of my pliers, bend my loop back until it's nice and centered on top of my beads. Put that one to the side and go on to the next one. Now, once you've done these several times, you'll just get used to doing it. One of the best things that you can learn how to do in jewelry making, especially if you're working with wire, is how to make a simple loop. That's what this is called. It's a simple loop. You just want to be able to learn how to rotate those pliers until you've got a nice closed loop. Bend it back to center it. And you want to always make sure that there's no gaps. You don't want a gap in between your wire and the back of your loop. You want it to be nice and closed so that anything you put it on, you don't have to worry about it slipping out of there. Finish up these last three. Slide down a third of the way down my pliers, rotate until I have a loop, bend back and center my loop on top of my beads. So I'm going to show you this little trick again in something that's a little deeper. So now I have a deeper well. It's open on both sides, but that's okay, because if I put this down in there, after I've marked off where I want to cut, and I turn this down into the container, like so, and cut, there's my wire right there. It doesn't fly across the room, doesn't hit anybody, it doesn't end up on the floor. It's nicely contained in my little container that I used to control my cut. Let's do that again, because that's a neat thing to know how to do. I'm going to put it down into my container. Got my little marking as to where I want to cut, about 1/2 inch. Snip it off. There's my wire. It's like magic. Just a little trick. Helps me keep from having to crawl around on the floor looking for wire all the time, if I control what I call controlling the cut. Here we go. And there we have our dangle is complete. And this is going to be suspended at the bottom of our necklace. Isn't that the neatest thing? So now it's time to make the connectors for my necklace, now that my dangle is all finished. So let's move these to the side here. We're going to come back to those later because they're part of our connectors. And now we're going to make, these are what I call part of our connectors. This is going to make up our necklace. One is going to be on the bottom, that's going to have these in it. So they're going to be on there. And then the others are going to go around the side. And you're going to connect them with these bead links. Like that. Neat, huh? So let's get cracking on that. So what I want to do is show you how to make these connectors, kind of half moon shaped connectors. So for that, we're going to need 20 gauge wire. And those of you who get kits are going to have a nice long piece of wire to work from. And I would suggest that you not cut it. Leave it nice and long. And then cut as you need it. So what I'm going to do is measure off for these little guys. I'm going to measure off 3.5 inches for each one that I want to make. Got my 3.5 inches. I'm going to cut it. Again, I'm going to hold on to my wire so nothing goes flying. Cut that off. I know I'm going to do at least one more. So let's cut that. Okay. Now the first one I'm going to make is going to be for this. So I'm going to make one little loop on one side, just like we did before. Going 1/3 of the way down my pliers and make my little loop. Go in with the tip, bend it back like so. Now I'm going to shape my wire because I need to put these on. So I can't put a loop on the other side and get those on, right? So I'm going to take this little jar. You can use any kind of jar. You can use an aspirin bottle jar, just something that's small. That's about the right size, the size of an aspirin bottle. And you want to put your wire on it like this with the side that's flat against the bottle. The side with the opening on your loop should be facing towards you. And then I'm going to wrap my wire around it. On both sides. And just lay the flat part where the loop is against my little thing that I'm using to make it round. And then do a little bit of shaping. So see, I have a little smiley face, kind of. So now I'm going to go ahead and put my beads on, but I want to decide, I want beads in between each of my little rings. So there aren't any spaces in between. So I just need to decide what color I want. What color do I want? I think I'm going to go with this nice, pretty coral color. So I'm going to put one of these beads on and my side dangle piece and another bead on and my next dangle piece. And by the way, you don't have to do this all one color. You can do each of your beads a different color if you want to. Okay. And another one. And my dangle piece. Another one. I'm just going to do that until I get them all on. Bead, dangle, bead, and dangle. And so this is what we have. Neat, huh? No, you know what? I could use this one instead. That might be pretty. But I've already done it. So we're just going to leave it like that. I'm changing my mind. I think I would like the darker one. Oh, Virginia. Decisions, decisions, decisions. So I am going to do that. I'm going to put the red one on. If it's too dark, I'll change it back. That's the fun of the design process. You can decide, you can just play with it and decide what you want to do, how you want it to look. Let's see, do I like that so far? I think I do. Let's keep going. Dangle piece, another bead, dangle piece, bead, oops, dangle, bead, dangle, and bead. Let's take another look and see if I like this better. I like it. What do you think? I think that's kind of awesome. Any of these colors would have made this pretty. Any of them would have made it pretty. I'm going with this because if I keep changing it, this video will take forever. Okay, so let me double check, make sure everything's in place. Yes, 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 and yes. Remember I said that the beads aren't all the same size? I have a really big one there. That's okay. I like it. So now I need to make a loop on the other side. Let's go to this other side. I want it to go the same way that this one's going. This is where the opening is. So I'm going to take my pliers. This one's going that way. So this one needs to go that way. So I'm going to slide my wire down a third of the way down my pliers. Make sure nothing's sticking out there. And turn my pliers until I have a nice loop. Stick the tip in there. Turn it back until it's centered. And close up that loop. Make sure it's nicely closed as usual. And then there's my centerpiece. Here's my nice little dangle. So that's ready. So we'll put that to the side and we'll make our other dangle. So this has already got a little curve to it, so I may as well take advantage of that. So I'm going to make my loop. Third of the way down my pliers, nothing sticking out the back. Rotate until I have a nice loop. Same on the other side. Make sure it's closed. And I'm ready to shape. Now, another little trick is, remember this is going to be what you put on your shaping bottle. So you can start shaping it a little bit with your fingers. And that way, when you put it on the bottle, it's not completely straight. It's a little easier to get it to lay against your bottle. So now I like to hold one side and shape the other side. And then hold that side and shape the opposite side. There we go. And then once I do that, I can do more shaping with my fingers. Now I want to make my necklace about between 16 and 18 inches. So I want each of my little connectors here to be about 2.5 inches long. This is almost 2.5 inches. So in order to get it to the 2.5 inches, it's a little shorter. I just open it up a little bit and remeasure. And I want it 2.5 inches from end to end of my loops. And there we go, 2.5. Let's check this one. Two and a half. And I want to do that with all of my links. Nice. And these are what are going to link my necklace together. On each side. So now we want to make our other connectors. These. See my necklace starting to shape up a little bit? So for that, we're going to take some more of our 20 gauge wire. And this is why I said I wouldn't cut it up. Leave as much of the long lead that you can. And then you're going to decide how you want to do your links. I just did different colors. So what I did on this one, yellow, blue, coral, blue, yellow. This one I did blue, coral, yellow, coral, blue on each side. So now I need to do 2 more, and I'm going to start with the coral this time because that's not what I did on the others. So we'll do coral. I just like different patterns. So I'll do coral, yellow, turquoise, coral, yellow, turquoise, yellow, turquoise, yellow, coral. So this way I have a different color in the center every time, just for fun. So now what I want to do, now that I've decided what colors I want to use, is put my beads on my long strip of wire, because that's the way I'm going to know how much to cut off. So I've got my coral, yellow, turquoise, yellow, and coral. So now I'm going to make my loop on one side, sliding my wire down a third of the way down my pliers again, rotate until I have my loop, just like all of the other times. Put the tip in, bend back my loop, like so. I'm going to turn that so you can get a better view. Then I'm going to slide my beads up to where the loop is, measure, give myself my ½ inch again, and now I'm going to cut my wire. Then you want to hold on to everything so that you don't, so that your beads don't fall off. Go ahead and hold on to that. Cut your wire. And let's make our other loop. This one's going this way. We want this one to go that way too. I'm going to put this up a little closer to the camera, or I'll just bring the camera down so you can get a better view of me making the loop. Slide my wire down a third of the way down my pliers. That's better. Nothing sticking out the back here. Rotate my pliers, open, rotate back, clamp down, rotate, open, rotate back, clamp down, rotate until I have the closed circle. And I'm going to put the tip of my pliers in, bend back until I have a nice loop right in the center of my beads. Make sure it's closed. And by closed, I mean that the tip of your wire should be resting against the back of your, the tip of your wire should be resting against the back of your wire, like that. Okay, let's do that again. Coral, yellow, turquoise, yellow. That's a little tiny one. Let's get a little slightly bigger one. And coral. Make my loop. Sure it's closed. Measure my 1/2 inch. I'm just going to eyeball it. Hold on to my beads. Clip my wire. And make my loop. Again, I'm checking to make sure that it's going in the right direction. There's the end of my loop. And rotate. Make my adjustments. And there we go. All right. Guess what? Now we're ready to put everything together. I think I have enough here. So let's see. What do I want to put there? Let's bring this up a little bit so that you can get a better view of everything. So there is my dangle. Can go there. Like so. And here. Okay. And this just gives me an idea what it's going to look like when I'm finished. So this is going to be my necklace. Neat. I like it. What do you think about that? That's kind of cool. Okay, so now we just need to put everything together. And for that, I need to take my pieces and grab my dangle piece. I'm going to open up. This is the first time we've had to use our square pliers. So I'm going to open up my little loop so I can attach this one to it. So in order to do that, I want to just kind of do a flip top with my pliers, slide my connector on, and push that back down, closed. Same thing on this one. And we can open either one. We can either open this connector or we can open this connector. But you open it the same way. Just flip it up, slide on my connector, and close the loop. Next one, open, slide on my connector, and close. Next one, open, connect, close, open, connect, and close. And that's one side. Let's go to the other side. Open it up, put my connector on, and close. Okay, open, connect. Oh, goodness. I can't hold two things at once, apparently. Connect it. Oh, for heaven's sake, Virginia. And close. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn this around because me trying to do it over there is not working. My thumble fingers today. Get on there. There we go. Close it up. Open. This is backwards for me, so it feels a little odd. Connect it. Close. Open. Connect. And close it. Last but not least, open it up, connect it, and close. So here's what we're looking at so far. Looks pretty good to me. There we go, better. Sometimes I need more light and sometimes I don't. So now what we need to do is put our jump rings on. So we just need a jump ring on one side. Now here's the trick with jump rings. You can extend your necklace if you want a little longer, but let's see how long my necklace actually is. Let's see what my drop looks like here. So I have to 15 inches on this portion. And then this I know is 1.25 inches. So that's 16.25 inches. And then when I put my jump rings on and my lobster claw, it's going to come out to about 17.5 inches, 17.5. Now, if you want it shorter, you can close up these little rings a little bit, but you want to do that pretty soon because we've worked with this wire enough that it's starting to toughen up a little bit, which is exactly what we want it to do because we don't want it to be able to stretch out or anything. We want it to be nice and secure. But while you're working on it, you can open it up a little bit if you want it a little longer, or you can fold it in a little more if you want it a little shorter. Right now, I think it's right where I want it to be because, oops, ignore those beads. I have so many things on my table because this is going to dangle in a really pretty place. Just perfect. So I'm going to measure one more time. That's 7.5, so that's 14, 15 inches. This is another 1.25 inches. That's 16.25. 17, well, 2.5 inches for the whole thing. So 15, what did I say? 16, 14, 15, 16, 17.5 with that, with my jump rings and my lobster clasp. That's going to add another inch. So it's going to be about 18.5 inches, which is just perfect. All right, so we're going to open up our jump ring. Here is the proper way to open a jump ring. You want to put your pliers, hold your jump ring with one pair of pliers right on one side of the opening. Here's the opening right here. Then I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to push down on the other side in order to open it. So now I have a nice open jump ring. You never want to pull your ring apart, because once you do that, you'll ruin the loop, the shape of your loop, and it's hard to get it to go back into a perfectly round shape if you do that. The other way to open your jump ring is to take one set of pliers, put them on one side of your opening, take another pair of pliers, put them on the other side, and twist. And now I have a nice open jump ring. And you don't have to twist too hard, because it's very malleable wire. So now I'm going to slide my jump ring into my end loop. I'm going to add my lobster clasp, and I'm going to close my jump ring. Then on the other side, I'm going to put the other jump ring, slide that into the loop, close it up, make sure that the ends are nice and flush together. Now all I have to do is fasten my lobster claw. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is my seed bead dangle necklace. Neat, huh? I like this one a lot. It's got so much color and so much personality. Now, one more little thing that you can do. I have this little mallet that I got from the dollar store. And if you want to toughen up your wire a little bit more, very carefully between the beads, you don't want to hit your beads, you can just kind of tap it a little bit, and that'll give it a little extra strength. But again, be careful of your beads. And if you don't have a little mallet, you can take something like this and do that, but put a piece of cloth over it so that when you're doing it, it doesn't scratch your wire. I like this because it's rubber and it won't do any damage. So the more you work with your wire, I don't think that it'll let me talk while I'm pounding. The more you work with your wire, the more stiff it'll get. But that just helps speed up the process. So there we go, ladies and gents. There's our necklace, all ready to go, ready to wear, and nice and ready for spring. And that's our piece for today. There is our piece. Isn't that pretty? This is one of my favorite designs. I really like it. It's so colorful and it always comes out really pretty. And I love wearing them. So I hope you like this. If you don't recognize it, it's a Native American sunrise / sunset pattern that we did today. And it really is something that you'll see a lot if you look up Native American culture and beadwork. So you just put one of those together. Those of you who get kits will get a selection of seed beads in 4 different colors. You'll get your 20 gauge wire, jump rings, lobster clasp, everything you need, and head pins, everything that you need to make your piece. So I hope you will do this, and I hope you really enjoy it. And I hope you'll post your pictures on the Facebook page for the library so that we can see what you do. Because again, one of my favorites, I want to see your versions of them. And if you want to, you can also email it to me. My email is jewelrygin20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20@gmail.com. And I will post it on the Facebook page for you. Okay? I hope to hear from you. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought of this video, this tutorial of this piece of jewelry that we made today. And if you would like to see more, we'd really like to know that too. Okay? Until next time, have a good week, good weekend. Enjoy whatever weather that you're getting where you live. And I hope that it's nice and warm. It's getting really nice and warm here in Georgia. So until next time, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.